How's it going, guys? This is Aaron with Sellozo, and today I'm actually joined with a special guest here, Eddie Willer from Guava Listings, and he's got a presentation for us today talking about kind of the do's and don'ts of copywriting, and he'll be going into some more detail there. But first off, I just kind of wanted to start with welcoming you to this kind of first episode of the Sellozo podcast, and also on our YouTube as well. But I just wanted to have you introduce yourself and kind of how you got started in copywriting, what excites you about copywriting, and your overall story.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Still getting used to these videos and podcast things. So any opportunity I get to do one, I take and have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, so I started in the world of Amazon about 3 years ago by launching my own products and failing. But of course, you never want to quit. So borrowed some money and launched a second product that did have some success. But in the midst of this whole thing, I just kind of was thinking, okay, what is another thing that I can do? I was teaching English at the time and I wanted to get away in Vietnam, and I wanted to get away from doing that. I just didn't want to do that anymore. I've always been a writer, and I figured, okay, now I know the Amazon SEO stuff from launching 2 products with some trial and error.
Right.
And combine that with the writing skills. So I took a few quick copywriting courses, just Udemy actually, and then read a few books, and I said, hey, let's start this out. So I did a few listings for free for some people that I had known, and then just started freelancing from there. After, as many the viewers might be in the Facebook groups as well, so they might know me from my Facebook group posts. And after that, I just became a bit more well-known in the space and started getting so many clients. I'm like, okay, time to start a listing optimization agency. So I've been doing this for about a year, the agency, and working in Amazon for about 3 years. While that's not that much time, it's all I've done every Monday through Friday and some Saturdays all day. I've been in the listing optimization space, copywriting, what images work, all that kind of stuff for 3 years of just constantly working at it.
Yeah. So constantly in the trenches there.
Yeah.
That's
where I like to be, though.
Yeah, definitely the most experience. And I'm sure, a lot of people that probably consume my content, I've probably seen your posts. It's a big but small community, it seems like, with Amazon. A lot of people know each other. So, but I appreciate you hopping on today, sharing your story. Where are you currently located?
In Thailand.
About
15 feet from the beach. I'm in my beach bungalow right now, and every morning I start off my morning by taking a swim in the ocean. So
that's awesome.
I just travel around and work. So
beauty of being a digital nomad, right?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So well, with that being said, I guess we can go ahead and hop into your presentation when you're ready.
All right, let's do it. All right, guys. So again, thank you for having me. And so the presentation that I wanted to really, I do a little bit of everything, with the listing optimization, whether that's SEO, copywriting, or images and everything like that. But really what I want to hammer down today is copywriting. Copywriting is kind of what I started off as, and it is one of my favorite things, right? Really stirring the emotion of the customer, getting across that benefit. Your conversion rate's going to be higher. They're going to click buy now. I have a few topics that I will cover in the presentation. So let's get started. Okay, so really something that's very important to get in your mindset as you are writing your listing is that everything is copywriting. And what do I mean by that, right? So some people just think that that means maybe the bullet points, the product description, and maybe the plain text in your EBC. And that's fair. I totally understand why people might have that perception, but it's also the text on your images, right? It's also the text on your image gallery and your EBC images, right? In fact, the text on your images is probably the most important copywriting on your listing, right? Because when someone clicks on your listing, what's the first place that they look, right?
Yep, right on the as soon as it's kind of like left to right, I think, basically the photos, and then you look over to the title and the bullet points.
Yeah, so it's photos first, most people. And so we need to grab their attention, right? So of course, having good images, good lifestyle images with faces and showing the benefits, right? But But sometimes when I look at, a prospective client's listing, they have either little or no copy on their images, right? So we never want someone to guess what the benefit is, right? We want to always make that very clear, right? If you're selling a water bottle, right, you could have somebody drinking the water bottle, handsome guy drinking the water bottle, right? But, maybe the benefit is that it keeps it cold, right? You don't want someone to guess that, right? So you have to be like, keeps your drink icy cold or something like that. Just having a simple headline. Of course, you could have some more advanced text with an infographic, everything like that, but at least some kind of headline and or subheadline that's going to help get across that benefit that you're trying to get across. So everything is copywriting, even your title. Of course, your title is most important for SEO. You want to, get as many SEO keywords as possible, but it does also have an effect on your click-through rate. You might want to put something like water bottle keeps drink cold, something like that, it's like somewhat readable. The keeping drink cold thing, that might not have that many SEO benefits, but if you had that at least in your first bit of your title, it can kind of help entice a click, right? Especially as if someone's looking, on advertising, right? They might not see the full title, but, just kind of gets them already, imagining and seeing the benefits.
Real quick, can you talk about, or those of the people that are watching that maybe don't know about like click-through rate, can you kind of briefly explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so click-through rate is when, right, your listing shows up on a page, right? Someone put in a keyword and your listing is, on the page somewhere. Click-through rate is when someone actually clicks onto your listing, right? So now look, the main influence on click-through rate is your main image. So that needs to be good, right? And review count. Those are the two most important things. But your title can still have an effect.
Right. Yeah.
You do want to make sure that at least that first bit, you can do a little bit more keyword stuffing in the second half where, kind of gets cut off from the search page, right? But that first bit definitely should be conveying some unique selling points that you have or, benefits. So you want to have, a little bit of both. Of course,
Right.
some SEO keywords and some benefits to it as well.
Cool.
And they can be very, very concise, of course, because you only have so many characters to work with. So very concisely, but that's what I mean by like everything has elements. Any kind of text on your listing has elements of copywriting in it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That makes sense.
All right. So we're going to go over 4 main pillars, Amazon copywriting today. And so one of those is benefit focus, right? So what is benefit focus, right? It's writing copy that highlights the benefits to your customer rather than features, right? So Aaron, like why do you think that it's better to talk about benefits?
Yeah, that's a super important point. So basically self-centered or self-focused, I guess you could say, would be the proper way to say it. But like basically they want to know what that product is going to do for them specifically and what their benefits they're going to get. If you're just telling them something maybe about like a feature, it's just something that's really kind of boring and not really directed towards them. At least that would be my guess.
Yeah. You actually hit the nail on the head, right? Yeah, because people only care about themselves, like what they're going to get from it, right? Of course. So of course, like, for example, right, if these are made out of double steel titanium vacuum walls, right?
Right.
Well, you can say that, right? But of course, you're going to say that at some point in your copy, right? But it needs to be not saying, hey, this water bottle has double steel vacuum.
Right. Yeah.
It is 10 o'clock at night here in Thailand. So forgive me a little bit.
No worries.
But it should be right because it keeps the drink cold, right? Keep your drink cold, right?
Yeah.
This water bottle has this and keeps your drink cold for 8 hours, right? Or so bring it on your long, hikes,
Right.
Something like that, right? You're really, kind of getting the benefits across rather than the feature, right? So we can look at 2 examples here: the bad example and the good example. Right. So bad example, right? Large size. This garlic press has a 4-inch diameter bowl, one of the largest models on the market, right? It has 8-inch handles and a hinge mechanism to make everything work efficiently.
Sounds like something I don't want to buy.
Yeah. who cares, right? Who
Yeah.
cares about all that, right? Who cares that it's one of the largest models on the market?
Yep.
Your customer does not care about that, right?
For sure.
They really don't care that it's 4 inches, right? Maybe they care it's large, but we don't want them guessing what the benefit is, right? Okay, yeah, maybe some people can guess that and they know that, but you don't want to trust people, right? You don't want
Yeah.
to trust to know what the benefit is because, yeah, maybe they won't, or they won't even care to think, right? They're here to shop. Something that would be, even right into the bullet header or bullet lead in, like I like to call them, right? You definitely want to, get a benefit across, or at least super unique selling point across, right?
Right.
Instead of large size, right? Smash more garlic, right? Smash more garlic with a 4-inch diameter bowl, crush more garlic than ever before. This will save you time in the kitchen, especially for those ultra garlicky recipes. Plus, the 8-inch handles allow for smooth use, right? So we're still, maybe this is important to some people. So we're still maybe mentioning the dimensions here, and that's okay. Like, you just need to kind of weave it in within the benefit, right? So, like, can you tell me, like, can you see all the benefits in that?
Yeah, I mean, like basically smash more garlic, saves you time, smoothies. Yeah, there you go.
Right. So it's getting, it's easy to use, save you time, and crushes more garlic, right? So we're getting all of the benefits and kind of, right. So like,
Kind of
just by
incorporating
just by
both.
that, right? It feels more alive, right?
Yeah.
The copy feels much more alive as opposed to like a robot writing it, right?
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
geared towards the person. Yeah. So that's benefit focus. Now, something very, very closely related is you focus. So you focus can mean, it is a term in copywriting and it can mean a few things, right? Some people kind of use it interchangeably with benefit focus, right? Because who are we talking about? We're talking about you, customer, right? It's all about you. It's what you're going to get, right? And so what it also means, even more simply, right, is using the word you, you'll, your, right? Use them often, right? Use them often and why, right? So when we use these words, right, we're subconsciously, of course, we're going to think about, ourselves if we're reading those words, right? If you are digging into a problem that somebody has, right? Oh, like their water, every time they go for an 8-hour hike, their water is warm by the end, right? That's a problem. So like getting them to think about themselves having that problem. And now with your new water bottle, you'll keep your water cold forever or whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah.
8 hours on your long hike, right? So it's getting them to imagine themselves in the hike, having the problem. Now they don't have the problem, right? Now they get the icy cold water at the end.
You're presenting the solution with your product there. Yep.
Presenting the solution, and most importantly, it's getting them to think about themselves with it and having the problem and the solution and even the product in their hand, right? So, just kind of another extra like little hack, right? You can say include stuff like your product, right? So your water bottle or your new water bottle, right? So again, this can kind of help start that daydream. Don't overdo that because it can become quite obvious if you're doing it all the time. But if you do maybe like 2 or 3 times throughout your whole listing, it is just kind of like a nice little touch, and it breaks up saying this product, the water bottle, this water bottle. So it kind of helps break up the monotony of, using some other words.
Yeah, it's actually very similar in sales as well. Like in terms of them envisioning themselves like already being a customer of yours, for example, if you're in a sales situation. So that makes sense, like through the psychology of it. Like you said, it's subconsciously priming them to think about themselves in that particular situation.
Yeah. And that's the first step to making the sale, right? They need to be thinking about themselves, their problems, and hopefully getting their problems solved. And that's the first point. That's the first step. Example here, some bad examples and some good examples, right? So safety compliant. Snoop Dogg LLC is committed to the safety of children. Our dinosaur toy is CPC certified and CPST compliant. Our T-Rex is made with food grade silicone, and we don't use any nasty chemicals. All right. So what's wrong with that besides Snoop Dogg LLC?
Yeah, a lot of acronyms. It looks like I'm going to eat a T-Rex. I don't know why it matters that it's food grade. So yeah, very confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why does it matter using the word hour? Now,
Hour also.
Right? Yeah, like and it's totally focused on them, right? And it is confusing, right? Because food grade silicone, that's a feature, but but why?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely a few things wrong with that. But yeah, even using our, not that you can never use it ever, right? You can use it, especially if you're telling a brand story or a brand mission. And, even if you're differentiating, but like for the most part, you don't want to really be using it.
Yeah.
Very, very selective use
Oh,
of.
I see. It's for a baby. So I was like wondering why it said food grade, but now I see
Yeah,
down
yeah,
on
yeah.
your other example.
Right, right. Well,
Yeah.
that's part of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you
This is the
wanna,
first
because
time I saw it. So
that's another, yeah, well, that's another point though, is that, right, you should assume that everybody is going to read every bit of your copy, but of course that's not the case, right?
right.
So if someone's looking at this really quick, they might not understand, right? If they're just looking at food grade silicone, they're like, what the heck, right? So
Yeah,
every bullet should definitely have, like, it should be very clear, right? If someone only reads that bullet point, you don't want to keep them guessing on anything else, right?
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the good example, your new dinosaur toy is free of harmful additives. This is tested by independent labs that follow CPST guidelines, guys. So I needed to double check if you can actually use that acronym. So don't necessarily use that. This is just an example. But if your child is a chewer, no worries. The T-Rex is made with food grade silicone and makes a great teether.
Yeah, a lot better. Yeah, because immediately now I know when it said safe for your baby. I mean, this is obviously without context of an image, but nonetheless, yeah, it's like on the first example, I like completely was confused as to what it was in the first place, where
Yeah.
like with yours, even without a photo, I'm able to tell right away by looking at safe for your baby. And actually, this is something that I recorded another video in the past, just kind of going over some of the different bigger brands. And like, I think one of them was Pampers. And I was looking at their listing and kind of analyzing it. And I noticed that they kept using words about like, how it was safe for your baby or that it was pediatrician approved or things like that, because like ultimately essentially buying something that's going to be safe for their baby, so that's something you definitely want to include if you're selling like a baby product, because
Yeah.
the parents are looking at all those different factors, and whether or not doctors, even if it's some random doctor that recommended it, either way it's still like social proof that essentially that they can trust that product and
Yeah.
give it to their kid.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like another thing that, we shouldn't always just be selling with our copy. We should also be overcoming objections. So
Yeah.
that is, for a parent, that is their number one concern, right? Is
Yep.
this safe for my child? Is it safe for my baby, right? So if you're selling any product like that, that should definitely be a point to make that, hey, this is safe, it's tested, it's approved, whatever it might be. So, but like, that's just an example, right? You always want to be looking at your competitor reviews and doing the market research so that you can understand like what are people complaining about, what are their pain points with other people's products, so that you can concisely overcome that within your own copy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times that's like even in the earlier stages. I remember like just in terms of finding the product, it's often like you can even look at that as well. Like what issues are these other products having? And then basically try to make a better version of it. But then after that, after you've actually got the product live, it's like then you can overcome that particular concern essentially by highlighting the things that you fix. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, exactly. So next one, and these three ones are definitely all quite related, but yeah, painting, it's like, what I call painting a picture. So, we gotta pull a Bob Ross, right? And we gotta like help the customer paint a picture right in their mind, right? A beautiful picture, what life is going to look like with your product in it, right? So that's what we're aiming for here. And the biggest thing here is show and not tell, right? Don't tell them why your product is amazing. It's going to solve all of their life problems. They're going to become a millionaire and move to Bali or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Thailand.
don't, yeah, Thailand, right? So don't tell them like why your product is going to make their life so great. Show them.
Right.
So again, like I keep kind of saying this, but this is really what we want. We want someone having a daydream about using the product, right? They need to imagine themselves using the product. All right. So, best shown in examples here. So bad example, right? Stimulate imagination, which is actually pretty decent bullet header there. So that part's not bad, right? But make bath time fun and educational with these animal bath bombs for kids, right? And the underline here is just to show you that it's a keyword phrase. There is a surprise toy inside these bath bombs for boys and girls, great for animal lovers of all ages, right? So it's all telling, right? It's all telling. Not that you can't tell at all, right? If you have a sentence or two that's more factual, that's fine. Right. This one especially, right? There is a surprise toy inside. So you're just telling them that there is, right? Just
Not showing
okay,
them. Yep.
cool. Like, I mean, it's not the worst thing that's ever been written, but there's definitely ways we could spice this up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Numbers of all ages. Okay, cool. Like, I know that maybe kids, whatever age, they're gonna like it. That's fine. But if we're painting a picture, right? The first line can be the same. Like I said, having something factual, we do need to talk about the product a little bit sometimes, right? Just in the facts, but then we go into painting a picture, right? Your child's face will light up with excitement when they find the surprise toy inside, right? So we're telling them, okay, so there's a surprise toy inside, right? And now we're getting to imagine their kid, oh my God, like animal toy, right? So we're playing out that, which is, probably one of the most emotional things that a parent can have, right? Is they're seeing their kid excited and happy. So
definitely.
You're giving them that experience mentally, you're giving them that fuzzy emotion, and now they are so much more likely to buy the product. Right. Give these bath bombs for boys and girls to animal lovers of all ages. Right. So we're also, giving it like an action, right? Action verb here instead of like great for animal lovers, right? Give these, so now maybe someone's picturing themselves giving it to their child or their niece or nephew or whoever, a kid that they know, right? So, and you're getting across that it's all ages, right? So you're still getting across the things that you want to get across and you're painting a picture. So, and it's also kind of a call to action that's not like the corny add to cart up here.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Now, not that, I mean, like, look, millions of product pages have that. It's not really a big problem, but if you can have a better call, like a call to action that's, a little bit nicer like this, right? Give these bath bombs, it's a call to action that I prefer.
Right. Yeah. Cause it's pretty repetitive across the catalog. That's like the standard call to action.
Exactly. So just other ways to kind of stand out here. So all of this, right? I did give you examples here, like within the context of like a bullet point. But the principles, like, from the beginning, like I said, everything is copywriting. The principles can definitely be the same for your image copy, your EBC copy, and everything like that. Now, for sewing in keyword phrases naturally, you don't have to really do that on your images, right? You can just the words that make the most sense.
Right.
But this is really important for your bullet points, right? Because with Amazon copywriting, we need to strike a balance, right? We need to, it to be engaging and flow well, but at the same time, we might have to use, keyword phrases that don't exactly flow well, right? I mean, like, give these bath bombs for boys and girl, right? It's kind of like, or animal bath bombs for kids, like, they're kind of longer, but they might be very, very important. So
you're just weaving them in, like you said, just kind of trying to make them flow as naturally as possible.
Yeah. If I just had to write something without any keyword phrases, then, I could probably, write something with the best flow ever. But, that's not reality. We need to think about SEO as well.
Basically, that it needs to be written for partially for the algorithm, but also, partially from the human element as well. So it's like you're saying a balance between both. It's, like part of it is, trying to get that SEO value and squeeze that SEO value. But at the same time, you want it to make sense and like actually read really naturally as well as you're going through it. Like you said, you just have to strike that balance in between.
Yeah. And definitely you don't want to be robotically keyword stuffing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's
yeah, you
where,
can have all the keyword phrases ever, but if your conversion rate is low, then what's the point of that, right?
yeah.
So,
Selling to the algorithm, but not the human.
yeah, so keyword stuff, you're going to disrupt reading flow. Yeah, and it just kind of can take someone out of the daydream that you are trying to induce, right? If it's something super, super duper choppy, someone, oh, they lose attention, or like, oh, that's weird, or it just doesn't scream premium to them anymore, right? Maybe you're
Right.
trying to yourself as a premium product, right? Of course, like, we have, foreign direct manufacturers that like they list their products and it's horrible
Hmm.
copy and they might sell, but those are super cheap, right? So
Yeah.
who are you trying to speak to, right? Are you trying to speak to the person that always buys the cheapest item, or is your product more premium? Are you positioning your product as more premium? And you don't want that choppy. You want your product page, to pop from head to toe, right? It wants
Right.
it to look professional. And this is maybe just a subconscious thing, right? But if someone sees, even if they don't read all the copy, right? They see good images, good copy, it's professional. Okay, like then that says to them subconsciously, okay, this is premium brand or premium product.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Bad example here, talking about artificial palm leaves, great party decor. These palm leaves artificial are perfect for a luau theme party, jungle theme party, safari theme party, luau birthday party, or tiki party, right? You see
Yeah,
this, you do see this, right? With some listings, right?
definitely.
And
Yeah.
the word party is supposed to be fun, not boring.
Yeah.
So
It's a
not
little
monotonous,
repetitive.
right?
Yeah.
So definitely not something that you want to be doing. Like, yes, okay, like maybe you want to be indexing for all these terms, and I understand that, but by throwing it in there, you're just kind of, messing with the readability and, perhaps lowering your conversion rates. So something that would, be a good example, and then I can go into it a little bit more. Cue the hula music, right? Time to throw a jammin' luau theme party. Decorate your yard with this palm leaves artificial set and
Mm,
transport your guests to the tropics.
nice.
So there's a few things here, right? When you have a keyword phrase, right? People are not always considering grammar or
Yeah.
when they type in. That's sometimes most of the way I search like that too a lot, right? It's like
Right.
Yoda
Yep.
said it.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but you might be so, it might be super important to get in. So just trying to look for words that you can put to the beginning or to the end. Now, you don't want to put it in the middle, right? You don't want to put like, I mean, it's a bad example, but like palm
Right.
leaf or artificial. Okay, actually, better example. Water bottle running, for example. You don't want to
Okay.
put for in the middle of that. You don't want to put water bottle for running. Or maybe you do, maybe that's another keyword phrase. But if you want the, water bottle running,
Right.
you're gonna have to put another word on the end.
Okay.
Water bottle running container, just off the top of my head, but like something, right? If that's one of your most important keyword phrases, and you've identified that as one of your, your top 20 or top 30 keyword phrases that you want to get into your listing as a full phrase, you don't want to disrupt that.
Got it.
Yeah, so just adding something to the end, right? This one is a little bit easier. Palm leaves artificial set, right? Is it the perfect flow? No, right? But it doesn't really disrupt your reading, right? Decorate your
Yeah.
yard, palm leaves artificial set, and transport your guests to the tropics. So,
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's not quite fully natural, but it's like it's enough to where you're still getting that keyword in and it still reads pretty smoothly. So,
yeah, it's enough, right?
like
That's where the
crafting
balance.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the balance. Now, if you have something like super duper crazy, like water bottle running for marathons, for long marathon, whatever it is, like
Yeah.
that's something that you might want to put in your back end, right? So if it's
Right.
important for you to be going after that long tail for whatever reason, put that into your back, right? If you still have access to subject matter, get that into your subject matter, or even your EBC image alt text.
Hmm.
You can also throw that in there. So that's kind of like a remedy for those like super weird ones that are just never gonna flow naturally.
Right.
But mostly, you probably don't even want those in your bullets anyway, because they're probably like a super duper niche long tail.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just using luau theme party, right? Because, for artificial palm leaves, this is probably the most important one. Of course, you'd have to look at the data and see, okay, which one is actually the most important. But for this one, we're just going to go with luau theme party. Makes the most sense to me logically. So time to throw a jam in luau theme party. Now, if jungle theme party is super important, just put it in another bullet, right?
Right.
Put it in another bullet, and that will make sense. Or just using the word, individual words, jungle, safari, birthday, somewhere else in the listing, indexing, whether that's in your back end, your front end. And okay, so if you don't have jungle theme party together, you might not get as much SEO benefit if it's not together, but you still should be indexing for jungle theme party, right?
Right.
Somewhere.
Yeah. If you have at least the word party somewhere else and you've got
Yeah.
jungle theme.
Yeah. So, Amazon's advanced enough to kind of like help pick that up. So
Yeah.
it's the best when you have the full phrase together, but you can't get all, you're going to have hundreds of phrases possibly that you might be targeting, or
Right.
you got to really pick your top 20, 30, depending on, what you're doing, the target keyword phrases that you want to get in whole between your title bullets and product description, right? Even when you have A+ content, you want to write a product description because the SEO keywords, they still index within that product description. So maybe you
Okay.
could throw a single theme party into the description or whatever.
Now I'm hearing you say phrases. Do you generally recommend that people kind of go after? I know like a lot of things that I've heard has been kind of going after more what's called like the long tail keywords where they're maybe a little bit longer, but they're more specific, more buyer intent. Or are you kind of looking at individual keywords, or do you kind of like to do a mix of both when you're writing your copy?
Mix of both, right? So when I'm selecting, or when my copywriting team is selecting keywords,
Yeah.
it is a good like mix of both, right? So going after those, lower competition words so that you can like start kind of building up a base and a sales history. But a lot of times, right, those longer tail or lower competition words will have some of the main ones that you can target maybe later on in the life cycle. For example, right, like if we were saying black large water bottle.
Right.
So black large water bottle is going to be less competitive. It's a little bit more niche having that in, but then that also gets large water bottle, which you might want to target after 6 months in your PPC campaigns. Or I'm not a PPC expert, but like something that you might want to try to rank for 6 months, 12 months later.
Yeah.
Thing, right? It's a good healthy balance. But yes, especially when you're launching, overall, you want those more like medium competition and niche words in your listing, right? The more buyer intent, the better. The more relevant, the better. Eventually start going after some of those like higher competition.
Right. Kind of evolve later on to the harder competition keywords.
Because then you have sales history, right? You have more reviews.
Yep. That makes
everything
sense.
that's gonna, help tell Amazon like, hey, like this could be relevant for
Right. Cool.
Yeah, so actually, like, that's all
Okay.
for today. Don't believe in trying to throw too much information at people at once. So yeah, I mean, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, just a few things. So yeah, first off, really good presentation. I like the way that you broke it down. There's a lot of elements in there that like even just adding the you or the your or the you'll, that's a little or kind of a good little trick or hack, I guess you could call it, where people can kind of stuff that in there somewhere to try to give a little more relevance directly to the customer they're trying to sell. So yeah, I guess one question that I had was in terms of when you're creating these listings, how do you prioritize the keywords in terms of like putting them either in the title, the bullet points, the description, or the back end?
Yeah. So for what we do, obviously, like the title is definitely the most important. Like I said in the beginning, you do want to have some benefit and USPs in there that might not necessarily have an SEO benefit.
Okay.
But yeah, it is still the most important. So, you want to get like 4 to 7 high value keyword phrases in the title, 7 when it's like kind of like getting those like double kills, like I like to call them, like, black large water bottle gets black large water bottle and large water bottle. And I guess water bottle, if you really want to.
Okay.
But like, you're getting multiple keyword phrases into one, and just really like your most high value, what you've determined are your top 4 to 7 keywords.
Okay.
To get those into your title.
Right.
Then the bullet points comes next. Again, we don't want to keyword stuff. What I have found to be the best balance between SEO and flow is 2 per bullet point. So 10 total in the bullet points. Again, maybe more if you're getting those double kills, but like, for the flow purposes, 2 bullet points. So, maybe 10. And then if you get double kills, like 10, 11, 12 in your bullet points, some people that I work with, they want less, they want it to be more flow and brand focused, and that's fine. At Guava, we always give the people the option, but my recommendation is definitely at least 10 in the bullet points with 2 per bullet. Of course it could have better better flow. We didn't need to do that, but that's the balance, right? That's the balance
Right.
that I'm talking about, getting, writing it for the algorithm and the person.
Okay.
And then, a good bit more in the product description. Now, I know some people will just put like 2,000 characters worth of keyword phrases in the product description. I'm not a big fan of that for a few reasons. One is that we will put up the product description before the EBC.
Okay.
So we want it to be readable. And then also, if Amazon, for some reason, ever decides to show it, on some listings, they do show the product description and the EBC, right? So it's just,
Right.
Amazon just decides one day, like, okay, this category, we're going to show the product description and the EBC, right? You don't want just 2,000
Yeah, a bunch of things stuff there.
So yeah, so again, like we can definitely lean a little bit more towards the keyword stuffing side.
Right.
And that, so just, getting, but not overdoing it. And then that would become next after the bullet points, and then the back end, whether that be subject matter with more phrases,
Yeah.
or EBC image alt text with more phrases that you haven't used before. And then for the search terms, what we've been doing is just kind of using all individual words that we haven't used yet in the listing. So for some reason, we didn't use container for
Right.
water bottle, right? We might put container in the back end.
Yeah, that makes
Individual
sense.
word, and then maybe some Spanish keywords, some misspellings, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the order of things that we found, and our
Okay.
client had success with.
So you think that, I mean, in terms of even in conjunction with A plus, you still are doing the product description, even though it's not showing up on the listing
Yeah.
when the A
Yeah.
plus is there? Because that, from my understanding, that part indexes, but the actual A plus content doesn't index other than the alt text, right?
Alt text does now. Yeah, we're still like trying to find the exact answer on that, because we
Yeah.
have found that sometimes like the text in your A plus content does index, and then like there's like another thing, and then like, but then it doesn't for some listings. So we're trying to really
Right.
like kind of hammer that out. Regardless of that, the text on your A plus content could also have some Google SEO benefits, right? I'm not a Google SEO expert, but we have, so we do place that kind of like last, right? That's
Okay.
like not as important, like the actual text on the A plus content. All the other things I said before this is
Yeah.
like really replace the SEO emphasis.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so definitely doing a product description with your A plus content, even when you have A plus content, because yeah, those words do indeed still index. Now that could change at some point for sure. That could definitely change, but as of now, those words are still indexing and giving you an SEO benefit when you use them in a product description.
Okay, cool. And in terms of the products that you've worked with, do you just focus solely on consumer products, or have you done any sort of like alternate categories, like for example, optimizations for like KDP or for books or anything other than just the regular consumer products?
Yeah, we've done some KDP listings.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a different approach for sure.
Yeah.
And we actually haven't done anything with fiction books, but we've done some nonfiction stuff, helping some KDP sellers with their SEO, especially. Yeah, so it's definitely a different process, but something we've done. But yeah, mostly products, and then a few handful of KDP listings.
Okay, cool. Because the difference that I know on that is just essentially the product description. It's like there's still an A plus content, but the product description kind of replaces the bullet point section on Amazon.
Yeah. There's no bullets.
Right.
So it's just kind of like one big block of text, right? So yeah, you do have to go a little bit different with your approach there.
Yeah.
And then but you can also have A plus content as well.
Okay, cool. I guess from your perspective and everything that you've learned, is there any specific resources for those that maybe are out there trying to get started in Amazon, but maybe they're trying to kind of do it themselves at this point before, maybe being able to engage such as your service, that they could kind of utilize as a resource or a good avenue just to kind of learn more about copywriting?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as like I've been posting on the Amazon Facebook groups for a while.
Yeah.
I'm going to like start getting all of that content out on our personal Facebook page, and our website, and my LinkedIn as well. So we can work with you. We can help you do it. If you'd rather, have some help with it, but if you're just interested in content, that's cool as well. You can can follow us on Facebook. You can check out our website, and we'll be getting a lot of helpful content up in those places.
Cool. And yeah, from if someone's out there listening and they're interested in engaging your services, they're ready to take that next step, what all do you handle? Is it just specifically listings as in your name, or is there anything that, yeah, like I guess what services would you be able to provide to the Amazon sellers?
So we are totally niche to Amazon listing optimization.
Cool.
So we don't do PPC, we don't do account management, we don't do any of that. We are completely Monday through Friday listing optimization. So that's your SEO keyword research, the copywriting. We can also help create the images, right? So
Okay.
There's a few packages we have where we have like copy/image guidance packages that can be handed off to your graphic designer or someone you have in-house or whatever, and then make the images like it's image ideas with the copy, or you can go with us and we can do your graphic design now as well. And more plans for the future, but that's it. Yeah, that's it for now.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's extremely helpful with the copy guidelines from someone speaking from experience, because for us, in our agency, we're mainly focused on PPC, but we have done some listings in the past, but it's not our main thing. But like basically every time we create one, there's a disconnect almost where, between the copywriter and the graphic designer. And until we had that, set specifications for the graphic designer, that made things so much easier to get the graphic, like the infographics, for example, designed, because it's like otherwise.
It's good to have a good system. It's good to have a good system down between the two teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I like to think that we've figured that out pretty well. So
yeah,
happy to help. But again, if you guys just want, I understand if you're just starting out and you want to try to do it all yourself, we're also there to give you, free content for you. And it's also always good to understand at least the surface level of everything, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Cool. And I guess last but not least, if they want to work with you directly, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you?
Yeah. So you can go to guavalistings.com and on the packages, check out the websites. But then there's a application form to work with us. So just ask you a few questions. And then we will get back to you within a few business days, just making sure that it's probably a good fit. And then we can hop on a call and everything like that.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, appreciate you joining me today. And if you guys are looking for listings, make sure to reach out to Eddie and go ahead and take care of you.
Cheers.